Every dollar you earn gets taxed, depending on what you make. The tax office takes somewhere between 32 and 47 cents of it. But there's one place in this country where that same dollar is taxed at just 15. That place is your super. And most Australians in their 30s and 40s are barely using it. They glance at the balance, close the app, and get on with their day. Two things make super powerful: tax and time. You just saw the tax. Time is the one you can't buy back once it's gone. And your 30s and 40s are when it matters most. Super feels far away, locked up, decades off, no thrill in it. So it slides down the list, behind the mortgage, the kids, and just getting through the week. That's completely understandable. But the people who retire well in this country usually aren't the ones who picked a hot stock. They're the ones who use super quietly and consistently for 30 years. They weren't on huge incomes. They just understood two levers and pulled them early. So let's walk through both. Starting with the lever you can never get back: time. Put $10,000 into a growth option inside super at age 30. At around 6% a year after fees and tax, by 60 it has grown to about $57,000. Nearly 6 times what you started with, and you did nothing. You didn't add a cent, you didn't check it, you didn't touch it. Time and compounding did all of the work. Now put the same $10,000 in at 45 instead. Same fund, same return. By 60, it's only grown to about $24,000. Half the time, less than half the result. That's the whole point of your 30s and 40s. The gap between starting now and starting later isn't small. It's the difference between money that has time to grow and money that simply doesn't. Now the second lever, tax. Say you're earning $100,000 a year. Take an extra $10,000 as cash in your hand, and the tax office takes about 32% of it. You walk away with about $6,800. But send that same $10,000 into super through salary sacrifice, and it's taxed going in at just 15% instead. So $8,500 lands in your super instead of $6,800 in your pocket. That's $1,700 more, put to work from day one. Salary sacrifice just means asking your employer to send part of your pay straight into super before tax touches it. Same job, same paycheck, redirected, and it lowers your taxable income along the way. And that saving isn't a one-off. Inside super, your earnings are taxed at 15% every year, not your marginal rate. Over decades, that lighter tax drag quietly adds up to a serious difference. If salary sacrifice isn't set up where you work, there's another door to the same room. You can put money into super yourself, then claim it as a tax deduction when you lodge your return. Same 15% treatment, same end result. It suits anyone self-employed, or anyone who'd rather drop in a lump sum after a bonus or a tax refund finally lands in the account. And here's one worth checking this week. Some employers will match extra contributions you make, on top of the compulsory 12%. If yours does that, it's free money you might be walking straight past. And you don't need big money for any of this to work. An extra $50 or $100 a payday, started early and left alone, can grow into a genuinely meaningful sum over 25 years. There's one more lever most people outside the industry never hear about. It's called carry forward. And right now it's one of the quietest opportunities in the whole super system. Every year there's a cap on before tax contributions. For this financial year, it's $32,500. And that includes whatever your employer is already putting in for you. If you don't use the full cap, the unused part doesn't just disappear. You can carry it forward for up to 5 years as long as your total super is under $500,000. So if your employer has been the only one contributing, you could have years of unused room stacked up. The ATO shows your exact figure in MyGov. For a lot of people, it's a real surprise. But it comes with a use by date. Unused room expires after 5 years. The space left over from the 2021 financial year runs out on the 30th of June 2027. Picture a year where a bit extra comes in, a bonus, some overtime, or you sell an investment and cop a capital gain. That's exactly when carrying forward unused cap can soften the tax hit. But before you funnel everything you have into super, here's the part that matters most. And it's the thing most people never properly think through until it's too late to change course. Super is a one-way door. For anyone in their 30s or 40s today, you generally can't touch a single cent of it until you turn 60 and you've actually stopped working. That lock is exactly why super works so well. The tax breaks are the reward for leaving it alone. You can't panic and pull it all out the moment the market has a bad month. But that same lock cuts both ways. Money you put in at 35 is out of your reach for 25 years. No house deposit, no emergency buffer, no year off with the kids. And life happens across that window. A redundancy, an illness, a relationship ending, an opportunity you would love to jump on. Super can't help you with any of it before you hit 60. So the honest move isn't tipping in every dollar you can. It's putting in what you genuinely won't need before 60, while keeping enough outside super to actually live your life along the way. There is one narrow exception. First home buyers can pull certain voluntary contributions back out to help with a deposit. Outside of that, treat anything you put into super as money you've locked away. So let's bring it together. Tax and time. Two levers, both at their strongest in your 30s and 40s, both quietly working away while you get on with everything else in your life. None of this is flashy. Nobody ever went viral for a salary sacrifice. But used properly, super is one of the most tax-effective ways to build wealth that most Australians will ever have access to. What it actually looks like for you depends on your income, your balance, and what you'll need along the way. This is general information, not a plan built around your own situation. If you want to run your own numbers, the Money Smart Superannuation Calculator is free and independent. Keep your return assumptions conservative and watch what small changes do when you stretch them over 30 years. Here's the quiet one. Most people never chose their investment option at all. It was set on default when they started a job and it's governed their money ever since. 22 to 60 on autopilot. And the one thing worth doing this week costs you nothing. Open your super, check what investment option you're sitting in and whether it's still the ones 22-year-old picked years ago. Quick one before we finish up. Everything here is general information only. It is not financial, legal, or tax advice. For your own situation, it's worth getting independent advice that actually fits you. If this cleared a few things up, do me a favor. Give it a like. It helps this kind of content reach more Australians who need it. Subscribe and turn on notifications so the next one finds you. See you in the next one.